Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, what we're talking about, 2026 horror releases. I'm so excited. Let's dive into it because I've got a lot to talk about. The first category we're going to talk about is movie releases in 2026. Okay, so the first movie that I'm really excited about that's releasing in January of 2026 is The Bone Temple, which is the second installment in the sequel series of the 28 days, weeks, months later set. There's a whole lot of things. Essentially, there is a movie that I watched a long time ago from the 90s, 28 Days Later. It is a zombie movie. I've always been obsessed with zombie movies. Zombie horror is like one of my favorite things. I used to be super obsessed with it when I was in high school. So I watched literally everything that was zombie related, movies, TV shows, all of that. So a really cool horror movie release. The Bone Temple is like the 5th or 6th installment in the 28 Days movie series. I'm really excited for it. They had 28 Years Later released last year and it was pretty good. I will say I had some like, what the heck feelings about the ending to that movie because it was very weird and it went very like, it ruined the whole movie for me, to be honest with you. But all that being said, I do want to see kind of how they wrap this up and if this is going to be the final installment in the series. So I'll definitely be checking out 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. If you're interested in seeing like a reaction to any of these movies or any of these books when they do release, definitely let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to like make reviews. Potentially we'll do it anyway, but let me know if there's any specific ones that you want to see a review for. The next movie is going to be Return to Silent Hill. Very excited about that one. It releases also in January. Silent Hill came out so long ago and the original director for Silent Hill is actually going to be redirecting Return to Silent Hill all these years later, so I'm very excited to see it. I love me a Triangle Head, I love me a Bloody Nurse, I love the Silent Hill series, so definitely excited to see a part 2 all these years later. The next movie I'm very excited about is called The Bride. This is a Frankenstein telling from the perspective of the bride of the monster of Frankenstein. Very excited to see what this is going to be like. It seems very artsy. When I was watching the preview, it definitely gave me like Harley Quinn vibes. So very interested to see what this is actually going to be about or how it's going to kind of flow, but the preview does seem really cool, so very excited to see The Bride. That comes out in March of 2026. The next movie I'm so very excited for, which is Evil Dead Burn, coming out in July of 2026. You guys, I love Evil Dead Rise. The Evil Dead Rise was like, I rewatched that movie so often. I don't know, like it's gory and scary and terrifying, but I rewatch it, it feels so comforting to me. And I know that's probably like the craziest thing anyone's ever said, but Evil Dead Rise, there's something about it that just feels so comfortable to me. And I just love to put it on and be like cozy on the couch watching this gruesome, awful horror movie, but I love it so much. It's so good. The acting was amazing. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed Evil Dead, the remake that came out when they redid that. I really liked it, and so wanted to see Evil Dead Rise. Obsessed with it. It's probably my favorite one in the whole franchise set. But Evil Dead Burn, I'm really excited to see how this one, what they do with this story. I haven't seen any previews and I honestly don't plan to unless someone forces me to watch them on like YouTube or something. I have no plans. I honestly hate watching trailers because they always spoil a movie for me. I'm very good at being able to pick out things from trailers on what the ending is going to be to something, so I don't like watching trailers. But very excited to see Evil Dead Burn in July this year, hopefully. Also, another awesome movie that I'm excited to see is called Other Mother. This is actually a book adaptation for a book that I read recently, Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman, and I'm very excited to see what they do with this movie. I really liked the book and I thought it was very interesting, so very excited to see a movie adaptation, maybe making a movie to book review on this when it comes out, but the anticipation for this is not until October of 2026, so hopefully it does come out this year, but that's a movie that I really want to see. And my final movie in the set that I want to see for 2026 that I'm anticipating is Victorian Psycho, which is again another book to movie adaptation. I did not read Victorian Psycho, and I will preface that I did not read it because I follow a booktuber named Jordaline. I love Jordaline, and Jordaline read this for one of her book clubs, I believe, and they trashed the book. They said it wasn't great, they didn't enjoy it, they didn't love it. And hey, let's be honest, I should read a book and come up with my own opinion, but I really trust Jordaline's opinions when it comes to horror books because her and I are right here, you know what I'm saying? And so I never read it. That being said, because there is a movie adaptation coming out for this book, I do want to read the book and then watch the movie. So I'll definitely be doing like a comparison review video for the book versus the movie and just kind of talking about both, but definitely want to see that. There is no actual release date. It just says that it's going to be released in 2026. So hopefully it does come out. And movie that I couldn't put on the list because there's been conversations recently that they've been talking about it's potentially not coming out was the fourth Jordan Peele movie. There's no title, don't know what it's going to be called, but apparently Jordan Peele was supposed to be coming out with a movie this year, but there's been talks that that might not be happening, so just kind of a side movie, I guess, if you will, that I do want to see if it comes out in 2026. I've watched all of Jordan Peele's movies that he's created. I've really liked them. I have favorites, obviously. Get Out is not my favorite. I don't really like that one. I watched it probably once or twice and I haven't seen it since. Us, I watch all the time and I'm obsessed with it. I did watch Nope, but I only have watched that once, I believe. So it wasn't also a favorite. I loved Keke Palmer in that though. She's funny. She's just so good. So for the fourth movie, I'm definitely gonna watch it. Is it gonna be a banger? Will it be better than Us? Will it be on par with Us? Is it gonna give me Get Out vibes and I'm just not gonna be interested? We'll find out. Our next segment is talking about books. I'm so excited for books. I have a huge list of books that I want to read that are coming out in 2026. These are all horror or mystery thriller type books. My most anticipated book that is coming out in 2026 is going to be Nat Cassidy's short stories. If y'all know anything about me, last year was the year of Rest Stop, and it was the book of the books of all books for me. If you watch my video wrapping up 2025, you'll have seen Rest Stop was my book of the year last year by Nat Cassidy. He has come out with a short story collection, and that book is titled I Know a Place, which includes Rest Stop and Other Dark Detours. I'm very excited for this. I don't care what stories are in it. I don't know anything about it other than it's a collection of short stories, and I need it. I need it. I'm going to read it. That is my most anticipated book of 2026, and I will be reading it in 2026. I want to try and also get to reading Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. I don't know if I'm gonna read Mary because I've tried it and y'all heard me rant about that already. I Know a Place is my number one most anticipated book of 2026. Next most anticipated book of 2026 for me is going to be Turn Off the Lights by Jackie Walters. I read and loved her debut book, Dearest. I was obsessed with that book. I read that, I believe I posted my vlog for it back in November or December of 2024. I read it shortly after having my baby, being a new mom, and when I tell you it hit, it hit. It might not be the hit for everybody, but the life that I was living at the time, girl, I was highlighting and tabbing and live, laugh, loving my life with that book. It is a horror book about a new mom and the horrors of being a new mom and the traumas that unfold from that, but I absolutely loved that book. So Turn Off the Lights by Jackie Walters, I'm very excited about. The synopsis for this book is basically that two women in different centuries are bound together by a dark secret and this haunting story. So I don't want to really read too much about what it is. I love the idea of two people in different times having like some sort of connection. It's kind of giving me the Discovery of Witches vibes, but like horror. I don't know. I really like the idea of like competing with time. I don't know, something about it. I love it now and I'm obsessed with it. So very excited to read this. Essentially, Edith is a healer, a woman of knowledge, and a woman watched. Shadows move where they shouldn't. Whispers creep through the dark. Terrified she has opened her home to the devil, Edith makes a desperate choice. Claire doesn't believe in ghosts until she returns home to care for her dying father and finds her childhood house listening. As one sleepless night bleeds into the next, she becomes convinced something is stirring beneath the floorboards, something that has waited a long time to rise. Is the house haunted? What compels this lurking darkness? As the danger mounts, Edith and Claire will discover they'll need each other to survive, but they are separated by 400 years, and time is running out for both of them. You can't tell me that don't sound good. You can't tell me. You can't. So there's that. Moving on to other books that I am interested in reading. Another must read for me is going to be Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. Last year I read Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang, and I loved that book. I loved it. I loved the gore and the graphics and the exploration of, you know, COVID and how xenophobia works and how people are awful and terrible and disgusting. But I just really loved that book. I loved that it had social commentary, but I also loved that it was sci-fi in a way, but it was also like horrifying horror, horrifying in situation and in ideology and concept. Like, it was just a great book. So Kylie Lee Baker, as I'm sure everyone already knows, is coming out with Japanese Gothic next year. Very, very excited to read this book. Essentially another book where we got two people living centuries apart that are coming together between two worlds. I don't it's the theme, I guess, of 2026. I don't know, but I'm very excited about it. I want to read it. I want to read pretty much anything by Kylie Lee Baker. Definitely gonna have to look at a backlog and see if there is any other books by them that I would love to read. But essentially we've got Lee Turner in 2026. Doesn't remember how or why he killed his college roommate. He flees to his father's new home in Japan, but there's something wrong with the home because ain't nobody trying to come near it, not even animals. The windows aren't always windows and somebody's lurking outside with a sword. That's Lee's 2026 present day situation. 1877, Sin is a young samurai in exile hiding from imperial soldiers in a house behind the sword ferns. We got the same house. A monster came home from war wearing her father's face. But Sin would do anything to please him, even turn her sword on her own mother. Dang. She knows the soldiers will soon slaughter her whole family when she sees a terrible young foreign man who appears outside her window. So they can see each other. They're seeing each other through centuries in the same house somehow. And a window that's not exactly a window. A window that's a door to another century. Very interesting. I'm very interested in reading that. Love Kylie Lee Baker. Another author that I'm excited to read from is Paul Tremblay. I have read almost every single Paul Tremblay book that exists. And if I haven't read them, I own them. I just haven't read them yet. But Paul Tremblay is coming out with a new book next year, Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep. Very interesting title. So basically this book is about a young woman who has no job. Her mom is a CFO of a company and offers her a job that she can't refuse. She takes the job. The job is weird. The job is to help move a dead man across the country, but he's got AI integration and maybe he's not dead. I don't know. I'm excited to read it. Again, I love anything Paul Tremblay writes, so I'm gonna read it regardless, and that's a very highly anticipated read for me. The final book that I have that is by an author that I have read from before, kind of, is The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark, but it's also supporting written by V.E. Schwab. I love V.E. Schwab. I know that not everybody loves V.E. Schwab. I do. I also know everybody does not love it, but I loved The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I thought it was an amazing book. I loved the writing. So many quotes. So many quotes. So with that, I'm on the adventure to read all of the V.E. Schwab books that I can get my hands on. Currently have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil that I still need to read on my TBR shelf. Plan to get to that this year. Other books that I want to read by V.E. Schwab, I also have Vicious and Victorious by V.E. Schwab that I plan to actually read Vicious in January of this year. That's on my January TBR. Stay tuned for that video. But The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark, I'm very excited for. This is more of a horror thriller. It's about 6 authors on one private island with 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. So essentially, there's a bunch of authors that are coming together to help finish writing the end of this book. Whoever wins will also get praises and accolades from the famous writer that they're helping finish, not only being a ghostwriter, but they're going to also help them become like a star, if you will, as well as they'll also be the chapter featured at the end of this book. So it sounds very interesting. It sounds like obviously somebody's gonna die and it's gonna be a fight to the death to write this book essentially. But I'm very excited to see kind of how this plays out for this book. Moving on to other books that I've never heard of the author before, never heard of the books before. One of the books that I'm anticipating is Nothing Tastes as Good by Luc Dumas. Sorry about that. I do not know that man, so sorry to that man. Essentially, this is a book that is about a retail worker who lives in Southern California. Over 300 pounds, he carries the weight of his childhood trauma and the millennial Inu around his waist and in his soul. After trying every diet under the sun, he remains stuck in his dead-end job, in love, and in his body. Desperate for help, he enrolls in a clinical trial for a new weight loss product. The treatment is as horrifying as the results are miraculous, and as Emmett shreds pounds at superhuman speed, every part of his life improves overnight. Unfortunately, it comes with some killer side effects, including lost stretches of time, overwhelming cravings. Worse, people who were cruel to him have started disappearing, and when the police warn of a cannibalistic killer on the loose, he fears that the medicine is turning him into a monster. But how can he give it up now that people are finally starting to treat him like he's human? Obviously a very interesting take on the way that we shame fat people. Disgusting. But I'm very excited to read this and see how this all plays out. It sounds like some trauma is about to bite some people in the butt. Karma is coming. I'm excited for this one. This sounds really, really good, and I'm very excited to read that next year. Another one that I'm kind of like on, I don't know how I feel about the concept of this book, is Mocha by Monica Kim. And again, sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, y'all. Mocha is a Korean term for spy cameras, secretly or illegally installed. Basically what happens is this man installs a camera as spying on this girl while she's in the bathroom. He gets freaked out when she catches him. He dips, but she's on a path to revenge essentially, and she's going after everybody who did her wrong, who has caused her problems in life, who has caused her trauma, and he's on that list. I'm excited to read this. I'm very much excited and can't wait to get my hands on that one. Another anticipated read is House of Margins. I can't even begin to tell you how to say this name, so I'm going to try and say it and it's going to be wrong. Tolodo Samase. Here you go. This one is also another book about a writer who disappears. Seems very supernatural, seems very woo-woo, somebody's coming after them. The catch on this supernatural disappearance of a writer is that there's a podcast that comes out that claims to know how this person disappeared. I'm very excited about this. I do love mixed media books, so I'm hoping that it does have like podcasts, like some kind of overlap there. Read episode 13 last year and really enjoyed it, so I'm very excited to see if this is going to be something similar in that vein, where we're following a podcast kind of style but also like learning from future and past. Another book that I'm very excited about, because I'm excited about all of these guys, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself, I guess. This one's interesting. This is a horror romance. I don't know. I kind of like romance. I really like horror. So maybe. It's called How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shaylee Thompson. Essentially, this is a horror where Jamie and her best friend attend a speed dating event. Jamie expects to meet a bunch of regular, boring, nothing kind of men and then just eat some food. She doesn't expect one of her dates to have his throat slit at their table during a blackout. When the lights come back on and there are more bodies on the floor, it becomes clear that speed dating can be a very dangerous pastime. Armed with makeshift weapons and Jamie's extensive knowledge of what not to do in a horror movie, the remaining speed dates try to find an exit while the killer adds to their body count. That sounds so fun. It does sound fun, and I do love fun horror. I'm thinking of movies like Ready or Not, thinking about Happy Death Day types of vibes, fun campy horror. That sounds like what this is gonna be, so very excited for that. Another weird one that I don't know how I'm gonna feel about is For Human Use by Sarah G. Pierce. Essentially, this is another dating book where modern dating is dead. Finding a human connection online has become impossible, so a dating app that matches people with dead bodies. Sounds yuck. Sounds necrophiliac to me, but hey. Somehow it has taken the world by storm. Okay. Millions of users are convinced that life with a corpse presents a better alternative to conventional relationships. And hey, this is on the bar being absolutely in hell. Because what do you mean? What do you mean people are willing to date dead people? Flailing against Liv's popularity, venture capital superstar Tom Willinson, whose company is funding Liv, isn't buying it, mostly because dating an embalmed cadaver, let alone monetizing it, is obscene. And hey, I agree. With the user base growing by the day, the need for cadavers rapidly increases. Humanity might not want to connect with other living, breathing people anymore, but they do want to connect with something. What could go wrong? Y'all, that, first of all, I guess you could say that's a romance. You could say. One could say that that would be a romance. Another horror book that I'm very excited to read is You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom by Vincent Tirado. This is essentially about a family who their matriarch or patriarch dies, and essentially the family realizes in a will that, hey, one of y'all is a demon and the rest of y'all better figure it out and kill them real quick like, or else you won't live to have my fortune. So good luck, enjoy, peace out, I'm gone. And chaos ensues. The family has to fight each other. They get locked in this house after the will has been read by a storm, and lo and behold, all of their secrets get blown out on national television and family chaos ensues. I love this. I want to read it. I am excited about reading about crazy family dynamics and the crazy things that people are up to. So very excited for that read. The next one is Bodies of Work by Clay McLeod Chapman. This is a novella, which I'm very into the idea of novellas these days, y'all. I don't know. I just like the idea that you can give me such a great impact in so little of pages. 66-year-old has always been regular. He's real regular. He is a janitor at a local church. He keeps the grounds of the church, and he's real simple and boring. He has no family. He has no children. Ain't nothing special going on with this man. He's just regular, and because of that, nobody's paying attention to him. Ain't nobody checking for him. He's just out here. Essentially, when he goes home though, he does have a hobby, and sadly to say, that hobby is murdering people that no one cares about, which on its face is disgusting. He has fantasies of just murdering forgotten women. He collects their bodies and he collects their souls, and he has started writing this weird wackadoodle nonsense on his walls and blood, and he's just very obsessed with this whole concept. But the walls and the bodies do start talking to him, and he doesn't understand what's going on, and he is quite terrified at the idea that they might be ghosts, and if they are ghosts, they're very, very angry. What does that mean for him? So very excited to see this regular man get dealt with, because he ain't regular. He is ugly, gross, and disgusting. I'm excited to read this one. Final two books. The next book I'm very excited about. One, because look at this cover. That is beautiful. Also, because the synopsis sounds really good. This is Headlights by CJ Lead. A special agent is ready for a change, burnout, he hates his job. It's his last day at the FBI. Before he can quit his job, he has to go back to Denver because unfortunately, something's happening there that has been haunting him for years. He gets a message saying, hey, it's all happening again. Seemingly innocent people are waking up on the side of the highway with no memory of how they got there, wearing the skin of victims they've allegedly never met. And they each share one haunting detail. A strand of a stranger's hair is tied around their tongue. This sounds crazy. I need to read it. I have to read it. I love a serial killer horror. I don't know what's going on here, but I do need to find out. I definitely need to find out. And our final book is actually a book that I've seen a lot of people already reading, so I'm assuming they got arcs for this. Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. Supposed to be a weird girl book. It's a weird girl book. It is a weird girl book. Lonely, broke, and depressed, Gia is desperate for a lifeline when Nathan, a wealthy stranger on a sugar dating app, approaches her with a very specific offer she cannot refuse. The instructions are simple. For 8 hours a day, she must wear the collar, drink from the bowl, sleep in the cage, and be a dog. Be his dog. After the 8 hours are complete, she's allowed to go home, but Nathan isn't one to keep his promises, and as Gia's humanity phrase, the line between woman and beast begin to blur. And again, it sounds like a man's errors of his ways coming home to roost. All I'm saying is it sounds like female rage. It sounds like it could be good. I've not heard great things about it, to be honest. I've also heard it's very disgusting, but I'm going to be reading this in 2026. So with that, those are my most anticipated books and movies to read and watch in 2026. Please let me know what you think of these. Are you planning to read any of these books? Are you planning to watch any of these movies? Are there books and movies that I didn't name that you're interested in? Leave them in the comments below. Let me know about them. Would you be interested in seeing other books and other movies that I'm interested in seeing that are not horror related? I am trying to focus down on horror specifically for this channel, but I also do read fantasy and I do read romance sometimes, not a lot. Don't get excited. I read more fantasy and horror than anything, so definitely be interested to know if you guys are interested to see what kind of fantasy books I'm interested in for 2026. But otherwise, thank you guys so much. I hope that you're having a wonderful January, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.